guys, welcome to the latest episode of Fieros in Scale. Today we've got a pretty cool little fiero historical artifact, a model probably about 1/18 scale, I want to say, just a little bit. 1/16 scale, just a little bit larger than the 1/18 scale model, and it's a pretty cool little model. It's made by a company called Process Plastic, and one of the cool little bits of information on this car is that this is one of the few fiero models that were actually made in the USA. That's right, this is an all-American fiero model, and it's pretty cool. It's got an interesting feature that most of the fiero models that I've seen don't have, and I wish more did. We'll go into that in a second. This is a representation of the 1985 Fiero GT, which means that this model may have been produced somewhere in late 84, early 85. I'm guessing probably about that time, late 84, early 85, as most of the details are correct on the car. And let's take a look at some of those details now. The one cool feature this car has is actually has working pop-up headlights. You flick a lever under the nose and you can pop the headlights up and down. It's a very simple mechanism. Flick the lever right there and your headlights go up and down. They kept it simple. In that case, no jamming, no braking. This model here is got to be close to 40 years old, and as you can see, it still looks pretty good. There are a few scuffs and scratches on the plastic, but overall it looks excellent. Now we want to take a look at the detailing on the car. They got pretty much every bit of major detail on the car correct except for one. They didn't include the air intake on the quarter panel here. Now that may have been because they applied these Fiero stickers on there, so they didn't feel the need to put that on, as a sticker would cover it. Now this car happens to have all of the stickers intact, which is a little rare because these paper stickers usually don't last quite so long. But this one I happened to get a few years ago, and everything is pretty much intact on it. This thing has all of the required Fiero detailing. You have our quarter windows, which are GT emblem here, signifying it is a 1985 GT, as that's the only model that came in a notchback with a GT emblem on the quarter window. And as a notchback, the only GT ever available as a notchback for the Fiero was the 1985 model. Now, it also has the belt molding, the Pontiac arrowhead right here, which is engraved here. We have Pontiac written, engraved into the glass. We have all of the correct detailing for the hood. Now the tail lights are represented by, again, stickers, which give you a fair representation of the tail lights. You have Fiero GT engraved into the trunk lid. As we come around, we take a look at the wheels and tires. Here you can see they use the correct Pontiac Fiero TurboTech wheels. And we also have Goodyear Eagle GT tires, so even the tires are correctly represented on this car, along with a decent tread pattern. They did some really good detailing, which you really wouldn't expect on a toy of this nature, as most of these big plastic toys kept it as simple as possible. They seem to have gone toward making the details as close as they could to the real car. As you can see, they also have the engraved badge. There's no detail in the badge, but it is there. And if we look close on the headlight cover, we even have the Pontiac name engraved into the headlight cover, just like on the real car, on the driver's side only. So I've got to say they did a very good job with bringing this car to life in a very simple plastic model. Now let's take a look at the interior. We have all our required fiero details, the 2 sheets, the seats, the center console, radio and air conditioning control pod, the instrument cluster pod, and we even have our glove box represented in the dashboard, in which case on the dash we also have our speakers and our defroster vents. And we look at our center console, we even have our little glove box in the center console and the lighter. Look at that. Now this car has been in my collection for years. It's not perfect. I do have to fix the rear wing here. And at some point I will have to take it apart and do a complete restoration on it. Or maybe I will just leave it at the way it is. Just leave it in its original form with its original wear and tear, as it's just a bit of fiero memorabilia history. So maybe it will just stay the way it is. And as I'm looking now, I can even see it has the engraved headphone speakers in the headrests. They really did go and hit every facet of fiero detailing in this. Looks like the only thing they missed was the air intake. Now let's take a good look at the chassis here. Even the chassis is very well represented, as we have our trunk housing. Here's our engine, our subframe, our catalytic converter, our coolant pipes. Here's our front subframe. Even the radiator is represented here. They did a really nice job with this. It just goes to show that made in America really does mean something, or at least it used to. So this one is always going to be one of my personal favorites in the collection, because it is one of the few fiero items, scale models, memorabilia that was made in the USA. This company closed its doors in 2005, as like most others, all the fabrication work was shipped overseas. But this one will always remain a proudly made in the USA bit of fiero history. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for this one. I'm happy to have been able to bring this one to you, as this is one of my favorite items in the collection, and I'm glad I was able to show it to you guys. Now remember, just like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, follow along, as we'll be going a little more upscale in the next episode, when I bring you another one of my bits of fiero history and scale models and artifacts, whatever you want to call it. Alright guys, I'm going to leave it right there, and I will see you on the next one.